I will always remember the day I was diagnosed with cancer.
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I had this sense of overwhelming dread.
It felt as if the floor had fallen out from beneath my life.
It felt like this cascading disaster that I felt so incredibly bleak.
I had to start dealing with the possibility that I was going to die young.
When I got my cancer, that word was not mentioned. I was young, and here I am disfigured. That was the hardest part to accept.
It changed who I am physically forever, and it changed who I am emotionally to some degree also.
I went from being this very fit and active person to basically an invalid. And I also experienced a lot of memory loss and difficulty concentrating. I no longer had my strength, my intelligence, even my passion. I just felt like a shell of a person. So I went through a pretty severe crisis of confidence and of identity, and I began to seek earnestly psychiatric and psychological counseling.
Across the trajectory of cancer, there are psychological and social issues that are crucial, that have been neglected over all these years.
I didn't seek counseling. That just didn't seem to be done in those days.
If a person is so depressed they can't go to their radiation treatment, or they're so anxious they can't do their chemotherapy, their psychological state is impacting negatively on their opportunity for a curative cancer treatment.
The stigma of cancer keeps people away from physicians, from screening, from early detection.
At one point I got particularly bad news, and when I came out of the consultation room, there was a social worker waiting outside to kind of receive the damage.
The mission of the International Psycho-Oncology Society is to bring the science of care to the patient who is perceived as a whole person.
I don't think I could have made this journey alone. And I think about what would have been the situation had I been diagnosed in a country like Nigeria, my home country.
In fact, we know in many of the developing countries, patients can be ostracized, even from their own families at times, and tossed aside as garbage because they're no good anymore because they have a, quote, diagnosis of cancer.
IPOS has developed a range of educational academies that it seeks to take into third world countries to reach Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, Eastern Europe, Asia, China. These educational academies train psychologists and social workers in these countries to deliver skill-based interventions to ameliorate suffering, to help people cope and adapt to the illness and its treatments.
We have measurements that are numerical so that when we do an intervention, we can show a change in a score, and we can bring to the scientific table the fact that indeed psychological care is just as critical as the medical care. The International Psycho-Oncology Society formulated a statement saying quality cancer care internationally must incorporate the psychosocial in the supportive care of the patient. Now we have 14 international organizations endorsing this marvelous statement.
IPOS is an umbrella organization leading a federation of national societies through 27 countries with over 5,000 members.
No other organization focuses on this particular supportive care area of cancer.
IPOS needs your help to support our educational efforts, to take our educational academies to every continent of the world, to support research across the full spectrum of cancer prevention, treatment and palliation.
Psychological care is just as critical as the medical care, and it must be a part of the whole, part of total routine daily cancer care.